What is going on pre-calc? Alright, so we are moving forward with Chapter 8, and we are learning today about the law of sines. This is a nice short little video. The first video for law of sines is really just going over it. I think we're going to prove it, and then our next video will be getting into like how to use it when you see word problems and stuff like that. Okay, so first things first, we have to get comfortable with it. And to do that, we're going to use this triangle. And we're going to say if we have A, B, and C, well then the sides opposite of these angles are the lowercase versions of those letters. Alright? Now to help me prove the law of sines, what I need to do is I actually need to draw in this altitude. Alright, and I can call that H. Alright? Now, I can, by drawing in that height, I broke it into two separate triangles, a left and a right. If I wanted to write a trig function from the left triangle here, well, I would say if this is my angle, angle A, well then I have the opposite and a hypotenuse. So I'm going to use the sine of A, angle A, is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, so H over B. Okay? Now I am going to write one more little thing here, and I'm going to say, well then H is equal to B sine A. Alright? Now what happens if we do the exact same thing but with the right triangle? Well, now I'm using angle B. H is still opposite. Now I have a different hypotenuse. It's A. So it's still opposite hypotenuse. Okay, so it's still sine, but now my angle is B, and it's opposite over hypotenuse. So H over A. And when I clean this up, I get H equals A sine B. Alright, well what do we notice? These are both equal to H, so I can set these equal to each other. I can say B sine A equals A sine B. And the last thing we're going to do, just to kind of help us memorize these, is I'm going to divide by A. So now I have B sine A over A equals sine B. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to divide by B. I guess I could have probably done that all in the same line. Excuse me. If I divide by B and divide by B, well then the B's cancel. And now I have the law of sines. Sine A over A equals sine B over B. And that is what we need to remember. Now, we're not going to prove this over and over and over again. Like, I can turn my paper oriented a different way, and then I could probably, you can't see. If I orient my paper a different way, then I can also get that all of these we can tack on our last as well. Sine C over C. Okay? So this is huge. This is big. We need this. We need this sometimes to help us solve triangles, and that is what we're going to do right now. Alright, now if you remember from our first video, what does it mean to solve the triangle? Solve just means, you probably can't see what I'm doing, find all angle measures and side lengths. Alright, so we need to find all the angle measures and all the side lengths. Okay, so in something like this, the first thing I would suggest doing is sketching a picture. Maybe I'm going to change that. I'm not suggesting. Do it. Sketch a picture. It does not have to be perfect. Okay, this clearly is not. Alright, and I'm going to say maybe this is B, and this is A, and this is C, and label what we have. We know that angle A is 36 degrees. 36 degrees. I know that angle B is 48 degrees. 48 degrees. I know that side A, or that side across from A, angle A, excuse me, is 8. Well, that means we're missing some things, right? I need C, I need B, and I don't know angle C. For these problems, what I do is I make a little list. So I know that I'm going to need the measure of angle A, measure of angle B, measure of angle C, and I'm also going to need A, B, and C. So now I know everything I need to solve this triangle, but what's really great is I already have a lot of this. I know this is 36, I know B is 48, I know side A is 8. Now remember, you're going to have a calculator here. What's the easiest way to get the measure of angle C? Do we have to do any crazy formulas? Absolutely not. Well, hopefully you guys remember. I just need to do, actually, you know what? I should be using a graphing calculator just because I know that's what you guys have. Alright, we know that a triangle adds up to 180. So 180 minus 36 minus 48, 96. I already have my 96 degrees right there. So that's good. Now we have to do a little bit of work. Alright, we kind of have to decide, and this is really important. You guys know, like when you're, hopefully you recognize that like these are going to be, or these are proportions, right? These are proportional to each other. You have to remember, you can't solve a proportion unless you have three things, right? You can only have one unknown, one variable. So could I get B and C at the same time? Absolutely not. Alright, you have to pick and choose accordingly. So let's say we want to get B first. Alright, if we want to get B, then that means our first fraction that we should write is the B pairing. Alright, so I know that I'm going to use sine of 48 over B. Alright, that's the pair that I'm looking for right now. Well, now I know that's going to be equal to, this is important, you cannot use the pairing with the C, right? If you used that, you would have two variables, can't do it. So you have to use the pair that you already know. So, sine 36 over 8. And now this is as simple as cross-multiplying and solving. Excuse me. We would cross-multiply. So let's see here. We would have B sine 36 equals 8 sine 48. And then the last thing, and I know this kind of looks like a 6, sorry guys, how am I going to get B? What do I have to do? Yeah, I just divide by sine 36 on both sides, because then these will cancel, and I know that whatever I get over here is going to be my B value. So we go to the calculator, and we punch it in exactly as we see it. You can even use the fraction bar. So 8, actually hold on, before I do this, let's check our mode. Okay, we're in degree mode, good. 8 sine 48 over sine 36. And we get 10.11. Alright, so we would say for letter B, 10.11. Now, we know that all we're looking for is C. So C goes with the 96, so I know I'm going to start by using my fraction that involves the unknown that I'm looking for. So I know I need sine 96 over C equals. And now you have a choice to make. I don't want to say picking B would be incorrect, but I do want you to know that the actual length of B is 10.11450794, and on and on and on and on and on. And what did we do? We just wrote 10.11. So it's always better to use an exact value. And so I'm here to tell you that it would be way, 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 way better in this situation, because you have it, to use the 8 and the 36, because you know those are exact. There will be times where you can't, but for right now, if you do have it, use it, okay? And so now we have sine 36 over 8, and this is the same thing, guys. We cross multiply. We get C sine 36 equals 8 sine 96, and then of course we divide by sine 36. And when we go to the calculator, fraction, let's see here, 8 sine 96 over sine 36, and we get 13.53, no, 13.54. Now the last thing, of course, I would do, check. What do we notice? Smallest side, smallest angle. Middle side, middle angle. Largest side, largest angle. Exactly what we would expect. Okay? Okay, so there's one example where if I give you two angles, you can always get that third angle easily just by doing 180 minus. Now, in our last example for the day, it's a little different. I'm going to sketch another triangle. I'm going to call this, actually I'll just stay with what I did before, so we have it. So ABC, and let's see here. We have the side across from angle C is 12.5. We have that the side across from B is 7. And we knew that the angle over here is 32 degrees at C, sorry. Okay. So we are looking for side A as well as these two angles. So let's make our list. We know we're going to do measure angle A, measure angle B, measure angle C. A, B, C. And let's plug in what we know already. So we know 32 degrees is C. We know side B is 7, and we know side C is 12.5. All right. Now, let's think about this. Let's think about this. What do we know? In this situation, we know everything about the C pairing. Okay, so we can use the C pairing to help us start, right? That's the fraction that we know both top and bottom of. Could we get angle A if we don't have the side? No. This would be two unknowns. We cannot get anything here because you can only have one unknown when you cross multiply and solve a proportion. So we have to, in this case, we have to get angle B first, right? This is our known, known. So this is the unknown that we can solve for first. So how does that look? Well, we could say sine of 32 over side 32, so 12.5, is equal to the sine of angle B over 7. All right, now this works the same way. I cross multiply, I get 7 sine 32 equals 12.5 sine B. I have to divide both sides by 12.5, right? Cross. So now I have that sine B, sine B equals 7 sine 32 all over 12.5. Now you guys need to remember here, how do I do this? I don't have just B equals 7 sine 32 over 12.5, it's sine B. So you need to remember here that we have to undo the sign. And how do we undo a sign? We use the inverse sign. All right, you use the inverse sign. So on a calculator, if we see something like this, if we're solving this, we need to use the inverse sign function. And then we can go to our fraction bar, 7 sine 32 over 12.5. We can close it, and we get 17.26. 17.26. So I'm going to write that for angle B. 17.26. All right, cool. Now, once we have two angles, I would hope that you would remember that we can always get the third angle by using 180 minus. So I'm going to do 180. I'm actually going to just subtract the answer, so I subtract as close to the correct answer as possible. And then also the minus 32. And I get 130.74. 130.7, oh, shoot, sorry. 130.74 degrees. All right, this is good, because what do we notice now? And I should probably label some of this. This was the 17.26. This is 130.74. And now all we have is one more unknown. We need A. So we know that we're going to have to do sine of that 130.74 all over A, And that's going to be equal to, and again, which one do we choose? Do we want to use the b's that we just kind of guessed at, or not guessed, but rounded? Or do we use our knowns? Let's use our exacts. Excuse me, I should say exacts, not knowns. So sine of 32, which is angle C, across from side C, 12.5. And now this turns into a problem like up above. We have a sine 32 equals 12.5 sine 130.74. We divide by sine 32, and we go to the calculator. So to finish this up, we get fraction bar 12.5 sine 130.74 over sine 32, enter, 17.87. And we'll just 17.87. And that is that. Alright, one more time, just to make sure, we'll double check. Smallest angle, smallest side. Middle angle, middle side. Biggest angle, biggest side. And that is the law of sines. So, we need to be able to use the law of sines right here. We need to be able to use this to help us solve triangles, to help us get unknown lengths. A lot of the times you might need this. Well, I guess we'll see in our next video. We're going to do a lot of word problems that require you to use the law of sines. Alright, I hope that this made sense, and of course, we will work on it in class. Peace.